y'all. Welcome to another episode of Interview with a Reader, and I have Tristan here who is visiting us to talk about all things bookish. Hey!
Hello.
So good to see you here face to face instead of just reading your books and seeing you kind of online.
I know we've communicated for it's been a hot minute of going to each other like through TikTok and Instagram, all that stuff. So
Following across
actually
the.
talking to you is like it's kind of weird. I actually have I have an author friend of mine who has a podcast, and I'll be going on her podcast next week actually. And it's the same thing. I've never actually spoken to her. It's only been like texts on like DMs.
Isn't it so weird? It's nice, but it's weird at the same time. I like it though.
Yeah, it's cool.
And getting to talk to the authors who have written books that I've actually got to read and are super cool, which is also something that I never thought I'd get to do. So thank you for being on here to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
Okay, let's see. What do we want to talk about first? I think we should dive into, I need to know, like, how you come up with your ideas. Are you a planner or are you just winging it?
So, in terms of just getting an idea, it stems from a couple things. It can be like, hey, I really want to play in this genre, and me thinking about that genre and like breaking away into a fresh idea to get into there. It can also stem from like something I want to talk about, like thematically, like what's something I want to explore, something I want to say. But also, like, it's usually a lot of times it's just like I'm watching something. It usually comes from TV shows or movies where I'm watching something and it just clicks to me and I just get an idea out of nowhere. I'm like, wait a minute, like, what if I do this genre, but like my own spin? I have a whole idea coming off of it.
That's pretty cool, too, because I don't know how many times that I've been watching a TV or a movie, and I'm like, I wish this was a book so you could get more from it, and there is no book. It's just something somebody came up with somewhere, and I'm like, darn. So that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I feel you. That's why I get to be able to be that person like, I wish this was a book. Well, why don't I write the thing, and do my own spin on it.
That is actually pretty cool. I like that. So, that being said, do you know the endings of your books before you start or midway, or how do you come up with them?
So I come pretty prepared. I'm not a guy who outlines. I'm not getting a full outline of the story and everything like that. That all lives in my head. Regarding ending, yeah, I know well before I write a book that I know the ending of. And it almost never changes. I've been writing on and off a religious horror novel for like 3 or 4 years now, and I had an ending. I changed it right before I started writing it, and then I rewrote like 30,000 words of the final act to go back to the original ending. I usually come in with a pretty good idea of everything. I come really prepared. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of preparations. And I'll have a document of notes. So it's not like I'm outlining per se, but I'll have the characters written down, some aspects of the characters, and anything I've researched for world building, if that's applicable, or I don't know, just like anything I've researched that I really need to like remember and stuff like that, or anything about the world, that type of stuff. But for the most part, I'm just jumping in with just all of it just in my noggin.
How long does it take you, do you think, from like start to finish? Or is it just varies? Because I feel like that's hard to say. Like, do all your books come out at this point in time? It's all process every time, so I guess you don't really know.
Yeah, because like I'm not self-publishing. I go through indie publishers that are open to unrepresented authors. So I'm on that side of the indie things. So it's all about getting a book deal. But in terms of from start to finish, I can get a book done in a year or less, at least in terms of a first draft. It may be a little bit more to go for multiple drafts or whatever. Like I just finished writing a book. I'm currently like pitching it and stuff like that. Fingers crossed I can get a deal or something. I started writing that sometime last year. I can't remember. I couldn't tell you, like maybe like somewhere early February, March, somewhere in that ballpark or whatever. And I just finished it in terms of like, I finished the first draft by like late fall or something like that, or mid fall, somewhere in there. got an editor. We went back and forth on it, and we just wrapped it up and everything recently, just like the last like couple days or so.
Oh my goodness. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. And then now I'm already writing my next book.
That's going to be exciting too. I just read your last one. So tell me a little bit about that, since technically I guess that would be your last book that came out.
Yeah, so for audiences who don't know, Unfold is a...
I'm pretending like I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So Unfold is a slow burn workplace horror. It is like 2/3. It's like, no, it's more like 1/3 workplace drama, 1/3 like workplace thriller, and then it gets into a super violent creature feature and the third act. And so basically it's about these employees at a research company who are researching these monsters called the Wind Tossers, and things are very toxic in this workplace. People are trying to unionize and better the workplace. Things don't go according to plan, and some people or someone gets an idea. It's a little on the murderous side, and things go horrifically wrong, as you have read.
I felt it though. Like I was a little bit ragey as I'm just like the workplace drama, and I'm just like gritting my teeth, and I'm like, okay, I get it. And then like you get a little bit ragey, and I'm like, I don't blame you. Do not.
Yeah.
It was so cool though. What was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. Okay. So next weird question. I know you know your endings. Do you know the characters that you're going to lose, or do you just sacrifice them as you go, if that makes sense?
Oh, when it comes to
of course.
Character arcs is I think is the better way to frame it. And I know character arcs before I start writing. And that almost never changes. I actually can't think of any time I changed the character's fate in a book. So in Unfold, a lot of characters die, and all those characters that died, I had that planned out from like almost day one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. The only thing that did change in Unfold, actually, there's a specific kill that I had in my mind, just more of as like a set piece type of kill that I was going to have for one character, and it ended up being a different character because like the logistics of like almost the choreography of how the scene was playing out, it wouldn't have worked like in terms of where characters were and stuff like that, positioning wise. So I put that on the back burner, and like I got like however long later in the book, and then I was like, you know what, I have a way in so I can get this kill because it's the most brutal kill in the entire book. And I was like, okay, it'll be this character, and this is how it'll happen in terms of like the choreography of the scene and how it plays out. And I think you know what kill I'm talking about, the throat kill.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I will tell you after this, I'll tell you who was originally supposed to die that way.
Yes, I absolutely have to know that after, of course.
Yes.
That's interesting. Talking about that too, and I know you said you were basically going through indie publishers that are already publishing. So does that mean that you get to help decide your covers, or is it just they pick a cover kind of thing? How does it work for you?
So for Unfold, for this publisher, they were like, we'll design the cover, blah, blah, and they sent it to me, and I really liked it. I had no notes or anything. Fun fact, though, actually, the publisher didn't like the cover. They were going to go to the artist and have the artist redo the cover. But the thing is, like, they didn't tell me that. They didn't communicate that. So, like, I already did the cover reveal when they were making this decision. And I'm like, this will ruin a lot of my release strategy and my marketing strategy that I'm coming up with the book. And also, I really like the cover, and I'm getting a lot of compliments on the cover.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I actually liked the cover of it. Like, when I first started reading it, I was like, okay, I don't really think much about covers. But, like, after you read the book and then you go back to look at the cover, like, I feel like it fits well.
Yeah, they were like, some of the higher-ups felt like it didn't fit my genre. I'm like, there's a monster in the shadows, and there's some blood in the wall and stuff like that. And it's a workplace thing. And it's like, it looks like an office. I'm like,
I guess we can tell you guys have been working in corporate.
Yeah.
Or at least not on the lower levels, I guess, technically.
Yeah. I'm really happy with the cover.
That is very cool. Talking about Unfold, how did your previous book come about that way, cover wise, and all of that fun stuff? Was
So
it different or relatively the same?
yeah, my debut was The Huntress and the Trickster, which is an urban fantasy novel. That publisher, they give you 2 covers to choose from, but if you're not happy with either one, you can give them feedback. So we ended up going with 4. We went through 4 different covers to get to the one where the first 2, one of them was completely off base. It looked like something from like a domestic thriller or something like that. It's just like a Frida McFadden type thing or whatever. And that's no hate on that type of stuff. It's just like it looked like that. And the other one was like
has to go with the book.
Yeah, and the other one looked too fantasy, but I liked the font, like the title and stuff like that. So I was like, keep that, but like it needs to be a little more John Wick-esque or whatever. And then they ended up doing it, and I ended up being pretty happy with the final version of the cover.
That is pretty cool. Now, that being your debut, how long did that one take you to polish up before you're like, okay, I'm gonna give this to someone?
Honestly, I'm so bad at remembering timelines. It was like within like a year, I think, maybe, roughly. I can't remember. I didn't have a professional editor go through that, and the editors at that publisher were really lousy. So I'm not really happy with like. I'm proud of that book. There's a lot of things about it that I'm super happy with, but there's certain aspects of that book that I wish I just rewrote a lot of it, honestly. But also, like, stylistically, I was going for something that I don't think worked, and I wish I had an editor to help me like make that work. But hey, you live and learn, you know.
Hey, and down the road, you can go back to it, look it over, and be like, you know what? I've come a long way. Maybe I should rewrite this. Because I know there's quite a few authors that have done that. And then the book that comes out is just so crazy because it's their view now. It's them more than what their debut was. So that's something to look into.
Yeah, I know Ed Flora is just talked about that on one of his videos. You follow him, right?
No, I just randomly came up with this.
Oh, interesting. Well, if people don't know, Ed Flora is an amazing author, but his debut you can't buy anywhere. And he posted a video talking exactly what you're talking about. He's like, I'm not really happy with it. So he's like, I might re-release it. I might rewrite it or re-edit it and then release it or whatever. Ivy or Jessica Lacey, she was previously under her pen name, Ivy Tholen. She's a YA slasher author. She's my favorite slasher writer working today. She's excellent, but she's re-releasing all of her work that was under her pen name, under her new name now that she has like a publisher and whatnot that she's working with.
That is so cool. I love that. Like, there's been a couple of authors that I've followed that started out, self-publishing indie. They didn't have an editor, but like I read the book and I'm like, this is good. Like it's so good. You just got to go the rest of the way. And then they end up getting published and getting agents, and like they go back and they redo their books. And I'm like, this is so nice to see. You're getting that chance to do what you want to do the first time. I love it.
Yeah, the only reason I probably won't do that is like I'm so deep into just writing horror right now. I just don't know if I could write something that's not this genre, like no matter what, like I just don't think so. And also, like, I don't want to go back to something. I want to keep writing new stuff.
New things to look at.
Exactly.
Let's see. I just had a really good question and it completely skipped right out of my head. My cats are being crazy. No. Let's see. Oh, I remember where I was leading this to. Okay. So that being said, when did you decide that you were going to be an author, or that you were going to start like seriously like pushing towards it? Has this been something you've wanted to do since you were little or recent?
I dabbled in creative writing when I was young, like elementary school or maybe a little bit of middle school, and then I fell off of it. And then like sometime like in college, I was thinking about it, but I wasn't actually doing the thing. I was just telling myself. And then about 2021, somewhere in 2021 or 2022, I started writing, and that ended up leading to my debut novel.
That's not bad at all.
And
I know
now
you
I'm
said,
constantly writing something.
I know you said that your inspiration, or you get inspired ideas and stuff from movies. What do you think, like, your most inspirational, like, push forward to wanting to write was, movie wise, if you have one?
It's tough. Like, I think it's less of a specific movie, but I think it's more of like directors because I'm such a cinephile.
Ooh,
I'm
yes.
definitely more of a cinephile than
Tell
I am
me.
a bookworm. And I love books, but like I just love movies so much. Can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a little check. I forgot to mention ask it earlier. I usually ask right before an interview. Anyways, like early on, directors who are making a huge impact to me. Edgar Wright, like I've seen Shaun of the Dead literally hundreds of times. I've seen that movie hundreds of times. It makes me laugh every single time. It's the funniest movie that's ever been made and ever will be made. So some of his
So
movies
funny.
like that and Hot Fuzz.
Oh,
I'm a huge Matt Reeves fan, so like his take on Let the Right One In with Let Me In, Cloverfield, his Planet of the Apes movies are incredible. I love Matt Reeves. He's so underrated, even though I know he makes really big movies, but I still feel like he's underrated. That's just me. So stuff like that, I think like directors like that were really like inspiring me of like what storytelling can be and what you can do with it.
that's actually a pretty good answer, because I do ask the movie question a lot, and sometimes it's producers, sometimes it's directors, sometimes it's just movies. But directors and seeing how they're telling their story, definitely, I can see that. That would be inspirational, especially if I was a writer, because you're doing that just, written.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it translates to style too. Like I feel like I have a pretty cinematic style, and like my approach is kind of like it. I kind of feel like my books feel more like a movie than some, because I read some other books and I go, this is literature, and when I write, I'm like, this is just like a novelization of a movie that I made in my head, you know?
Yes, I get that though, because I had that unfold absolutely. That's interesting to think about. And I know you said you're in your horror genre right now, not going back, but is there a genre type specifically that you think that you want to eventually write a book in, or just try your hand at, really?
Well, here's the thing. The great thing about horror is you can mix it with whatever, you know? Like horror has done it all. So it's the thing is,
Absolutely.
it's like they're all horror, but they're like they're a genre blend, you know? And that's where I really thrive in is like I love blending genres. The thing I'm writing right now isn't really a genre blend, but like Unfold is definitely a genre blend, you know? It's like, hey, I love Succession. Let's throw a monster in there and see what happens, you know?
Oh my gosh, that is so accurate. I did not even think about that.
That's so funny. Yeah. So like that stuff. So just to give some examples of stuff like I would love to do is like I would love to do like a retro futurism sci-fi novel. But like so something like Alien, you know, which like that's like the pinnacle of like retro sci-fi for horror.
That
So like
would
I
be
would love to
cool.
do that. I came up with a spy thriller, but it would be like a supernatural horror thing. So it'd be kind of like in the vein of like take a spy thriller, but put that with like Mean Spirited by Nick Roberts or something like that, you know?
I always tell people, I'm like, listen, if it's horror and then you mix it with something else, I will absolutely read it. I don't care what it is. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
horror really fixes a lot of things, makes it palatable, which
Yeah,
is such a
absolutely.
weird thing to say.
It's so versatile. Like that's just like the interesting thing about horror is just like, hey, do you want a rom-com? Guess what? There's horror for rom-coms. Do you want a musical?
Yes.
There's horror for that. Like it's just like whatever genre you want, there's horror there. That's like that blended that genre together. And it's fucking awesome. It's the best. It's just the
It
best. It's
really
the best
is.
art form, you know? I don't care what anyone says.
No, I definitely agree. And to be fair, everything is scary to somebody. So, like, you have so much to work with, so many things. I love that. Let's see. So, I don't think I've seen you go into any like conventions or anything, but is that something that you eventually want to do? Because some authors don't, some do.
I've been to a convention where I was like, I had like a very short signing there, and then I went there just as like an attendee, just to walk around or whatever. But it's just like the funds to get a booth at a place and to travel and all that stuff. It's just like, and
Expensive.
most of the time you're not going to make enough money to make up all that. So you're most likely you're going to lose out funds unless you have something very close to you. So I would like to, it'd be very cool to at least attend, even as an attendee, and then I can at least tell people about my book rather than having a booth or whatever. But it's one of those things. I would love to do it, more of it, but it's tough to spend the money on it.
Trust me, I'm just attending and it's expensive. I got to go to DEF CON last year, but it was only a couple hours drive for me, so that one was easy. But all these other ones are super, super cool, but so expensive, so I would definitely get that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do you like that is horror related? I've asked a couple of people this question and it's always fun. I've had people that are horror, like bake things horror related, craft horror related, horror video games. Clearly you like horror movies.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're asking. Yeah, obviously horror movies, horror TV shows, anything with like horror aesthetics. Like I like horror art of any kind, like I don't have any horror tattoos yet, but I do want to get some horror tattoos once I get enough money to get back to getting tattoos, because I have a whole bunch, but like I just so I would like to get some horror themed tattoos and stuff like that. But if something's spooky, like I'm down for it. Like I want everything in my area to look spooky. Like once I can make enough money or whatever, like I'm still looking for work and stuff like that. But I would love to like have a house where all the rooms are painted black. We have gothic furniture and stuff like that. Like I just like my whole world is horror. Like I'm just obsessed with it to the point where it's probably a little unhealthy, but whatever.
I mean, there's worse habits to have,
Exactly.
And that one's not too bad. But no, I definitely, horror is fun because there's so many different versions of it, and like you can decorate, make your own aesthetic horror wise. It's a big thing to go into. So man, I would love to have a horror mansion also. That would be fun. With like a dumbwaiter, the haunted library situation, maybe not so much haunted. I don't know about that part, but
if the ghosts are friendly, then maybe,
maybe.
If they're willing to like compromise a little bit,
They sweep, maybe not rattle the chain so much. They get to stay there,
pay some rent or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We can come up with a deal with the ghosts.
Oh goodness. So the book that you're currently working on, can you tell us anything about it, or you got to keep it hush?
Well, which one? So I have a religious horror novel. I am
excited about that one. I'm a big religious horror fan, so.
Well, we can go through all three of my work in progresses, but that one, the best way to describe it is Get Out meets the original Speak No Evil.
Ooh, oh my god. Okay.
So it's bleak. It's the darkest thing I've written, and there's some scenes that are the scariest things I've written.
Okay, well, you're really selling this one, and now I am very excited about it. I love Get Out, so I can't even imagine what you have twisted this idea into.
Yeah, it's like Get Out, but what if it was like a religion, like it was a more about religion than like race, and racism. And did you ever see the original Speak No Evil?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You would remember. You would. Yeah, you would. It's an okay movie, but like the last like 5 or so minutes is why people still talk about that movie. It might be the bleakest movie I've ever seen.
Oh my god. So this book is definitely going to be very, very bleak.
Yeah, I'm
still excited.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the one I just wrapped up editing and everything. That is a psychological action horror. It is, I don't know if it's splatterpunk or not, because like I've read some splatterpunk, but I'm not too well versed in like what splatterpunk, because I've read some books are so brutal and violent, but they're not considered splatterpunk or extreme horror. So sometimes it's like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like sometimes it's the lines blur about like, is it extreme horror, is it splatterpunk, or is it neither? I don't know if it's just me, but
I don't like when people are like, I need a suggestion and it's a subgenre. I'm always nervous to give it because like it gets so weird. Like I can give you horror recommendations, I can give you sci-fi recommendations, but when you start like digging in, I'm like splatter, extreme. Like the only way I do it is like extreme horror is just murder to murder, and splatterpunk horror is like murder for a reason.
yeah, I don't know. But if whenever that book eventually comes out, people can decide if it's one or the other. But basically, it's a Descent into Madness type of book, while also being like a John Wick action type thing of killing neo-Nazis.
Okay.
We're not topical at all, because obviously we're not having any issues regarding that in the US.
This is not based on anything at all that is happening.
Nope, no inspirations there.
None.
And then right now I'm writing it's technically not a cabin in the woods story because it's technically a lodge in the woods, but that sort of setting, but it's a werewolf novel.
You're killing me. I love trapped in the woods type situations.
It's also a final girl story too.
You're killing me. These are coming out this year, correct? If not, like we need to find somebody to do all of these because I'm going to need to read this. This sounds so freaking cool.
Yeah. If I just had the money, I would self-publish, but hiring an editor and then hiring an artist and then anything else, and then just getting physical books published and stuff like that, it's just too expensive. That's why I'm going the route of like indie publishing houses. And I would love to get an agent, but like again, that's super hard. So it's just brutal. Like once you get the ball rolling, I feel like you could be pretty okay, at least in getting books out. So right now I'm still just on those early stages of like just trying to get the ball rolling, of trying to get releases. Because ideally I could get releases out pretty quickly because I'm a pretty quick writer and I come so prepared. I can knock out a book, at least the first draft of a book, pretty quickly.
It's not bad. I'm excited though because I did really enjoy Unfold, and I'm excited for the 2 books you told me about so far. So can't wait to see who publishes them because I know somebody has to. Those are too good not to. Yeah. What's the third one? I think there was a third one, right?
That was the werewolf one.
Oh, the werewolf one. That's still gonna be fun.
Yeah, I just started that. I'm like I don't know, like 5,000 to 7,000 words into that or something like that. So I just started that recently, and it's simultaneously the most fun I'm going to like book that I've written or going to be writing, but it's also the most personal and emotional for me. And then it's me, so expect lots of blood and gore. Obviously, if you read Unfold, so you know what to expect. Actually, the religious horror one is going to be the only book, at least in the foreseeable future, that I will be writing that isn't very violent, actually. So if people are good with gore and stuff like that, hey, you'll be okay. Everything else, though, maybe not so much.
Not so much. That reminded me of a question that I wanted to ask. So I know you're super planning on all your books and your writing. You know your ending. Do you know your title before you end it?
Fuck. I hate coming up with titles. Like, it's just like, it's partially because I see some of these titles that some of these books have, and it's just some awesome titles. You see that and you go, that's a fucking title, And like, it's tough. Like, sometimes I come up with titles and I go, hell yeah. My psychological action one, I really like the title of that. I'm like, yeah, that's a good title. Some of this other stuff, I'm just like, whatever. Like, Unfold, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm just like, I just slapped that on there. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it was a good one though. After you read the book, I think I'm like, okay, yes, this fits.
Yeah, it's both representative of the company, this fictional company, but also the way things unfold. It's a little
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
the horrors that unfolded.
But I have no real process of coming up with titles. It's just like thinking about it and trying to like find something that's fitting, or it's just like I don't know, I just have no process where it's just kind of chaos. And it's just like if something pops up in my head that's great, awesome. If not, whatever. I have a whole document of all my ideas and stuff like that. Most of them have titles. Some of them I don't think have titles. Some of them are working titles that I guarantee will probably change like however many times before I figure it out. But in some, I'm like, that's the title right there. There's a slasher idea I have that I'll write probably next year when I'm done with the werewolf novel. That's like a meta bubblegum slasher. It's gonna be like Scream meets Fleabag, basically.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It'll be radically different from anything I've ever done, especially tonally. Like that will be my most like lighthearted, fun novel. Me dabbling with like a little bit of more levity and whatnot. But for the most part, titles are just such a struggle.
Titles and thesis sentences stress me out. So whenever, like, I can't imagine being an author and writing this entire like book and then just being like, what do I call this? Because I would never be able to name it anything. I just feel like somebody else is gonna have to figure this part out.
Yeah, and like sometimes publishers can help with that because like some of it comes down to marketability. So sometimes they'll suggest a different title for marketability and stuff like that. But sometimes it can really help you out when, like obviously when you're pitching to a publisher, you got to give them a title or something like that. But hopefully they can be like, yo, we can come up with a better title or something like that. Like I mentioned Jessica Lacey earlier. And there's a book one of her books that she's re-releasing later this year. It's going to come out under a new title because the publisher, her editor was like, I think we have a better title here, and it's also going to be more marketable for what you wrote and more fitting for what you wrote. And she's like, awesome, GG.
That's pretty cool, especially since they were looking out for it on that side as well, and it being more marketable. That's interesting. Let's see. Speaking of authors that you know, are there any authors that you would want to either do a collab with or be in like an anthology with? Like if you wildest dreams came through, of course.
One of my biggest goals is to do that, actually. I really want to, especially regarding the anthology thing. I know authors and stuff like that. It's just like it's so hard to get like into those things and whatnot. So like ideally I would love to. So fingers crossed one day. In terms of like, I see like some of these like authors who I know who get their names in this stuff, and it's like their names are with like some enormous people. Like I can't remember the name of the book, but there is a anthology coming it's currently being made that is set in Stephen King's The Shining universe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The one that Jamie Flanagan's putting together for The Overlook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nick Roberts is in there. And it's like Nick Roberts, he's popular and stuff like that, but he's not like one of the like the big traditional authors like a Clay McCloud Chapman or some of these names. And stuff like that. And it's like he's there. He's gonna have a story next to Mike Flanagan, who's my biggest hero and inspiration is Mike Flanagan. I'm obsessed with Mike Flanagan so much. And then with other like really, really huge named like authors and stuff like that. I'm like, motherfucker. Nick Roberts just out there making money moves.
That's just I would probably throw up. I'm just trying to sit here and think about it as myself, and I'm like, nope. That's just so crazy. Yeah. But anthologies really like give you the chance to get to be in that. Like it's just I don't know.
And you can really discover authors that way. Like I don't really read many anthologies. I'm generally not like the biggest fan of short story collections and stuff like that. But I have read some, and I've read some that are really great, whether it's just a collection from a singular author or we have a bunch of authors and stuff like that. And you can really discover people. And it's also great for smaller authors if you can get a few of them who aren't like the household names. Because some of these collections, it's just all the household names all together, which is a great, like a stacked cast of authors. But you're not
I don't
learning
think
anyone
anything
new.
new.
Yeah.
I
So you have
I
to have
read,
at least a couple who are like lesser known in there, you know.
I read a lot of anthologies, and I've just done that my whole life because I used to be, or well, not that I'm rich now, but I mean, used to have a lot less money, so buying books was not that easy. But in an anthology, you've got like what, 15 to 20 authors. Most of them are different. You get to read a bunch and then be like, okay, you know what? This was a good short story. I'm gonna go check out the rest of the stuff they have. It's a good way.
Yeah. So fingers crossed. One day, hopefully, I'll have something.
It would be very cool. I'm gonna mark this down and be like, he said this on video one time, and now he's on.
Yeah, exactly. I did write. I've written one short story that was for. Do you know Inigo Mort?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
TikTok.
he did like a whole short story, like competition basically for a cash prize. So it inspired, and he honestly, he legit nagged me. He was like, dude, you really should write a story for this. You should really write a story for this. So I did. And then I didn't really know where to put it out or whatever. And I asked Timothy King. You know Timothy King?
Yes.
Yeah. So I asked him and he was like, hey, I could do like a author spotlight and have your short story on my Patreon. So if you're subscribed to Timothy King's Patreon, you can read The Cross House by me. It's a little short story. It is a vampire story, and if you really hate cops, you're gonna really be happy with it.
I'm already sold, so I'm definitely gonna have to check out his Patreon after this video is over. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Have you thought about writing some more short stories? If you're writing cool ones like that, I'm just saying.
It's just about getting ideas. Like I come up with these ideas and they're just like they're too big for a short story.
Oh yeah.
So it's tough for me to come up with like a small idea that I can do in like however many thousand words, you know, rather than writing 60 to 90,000, you know. So it's tough.
You got more
but
room to talk about it. Like short stories, I've had a lot of authors tell me it's like so hard to get your entire idea across in this like short time frame. And I'm like, I get it, I do, because that would be hard for me because you don't want to leave anything out important. And then the next thing you know, it's like 500 pages long. But it's just interesting. Oh. 1 second. Let's see. Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Whatever. I'm down to talk about whatever you want, and you can throw as hard of questions as you want at me, or whatever. Like I'm down to go wherever you want to go. I'm just following you.
We're both gonna run into a wall. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. If you had to pick some of your favorite books, and I'm going to give you 3, so you don't have to just say one, what do you think they would be?
Fuck.
Yeah, I know. You said hard. Here we go.
God, asking someone their favorite something of anything is just like, God, you're like, this is the hardest question anyone's ever asked me my entire life. So
Listen,
I'm going to
people ask me for like my top 5, and I'm like, can I give you my top 15?
Yeah, it's like cool. Here's my top 25. No, I asked for your top 3. No, here's my top 25. Anyways, top 3. Here we go. And do you want all horror? Or do you want like in general?
You can say anything. I'm not too particular.
Okay, I'll go with Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. She's like one of those authors who's so insanely popular, and that book particularly is so enormous. Where it's just like now every thriller is just been chasing the Gone Girl high, you know, for like 10 years.
I mean,
now.
for real though.
Yeah. But it's one of those books that totally meets the hype. It's just like one of the greatest books ever written. The Lost Village by Camilla Sten is a translated Swedish horror novel. It is the scariest book I have ever read, and it's fucking brilliant. It's incredible, and not enough people talk about it. And I feel like when people do talk about it, they don't always say it's God tier, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it was good" or something like that. And I'm like, "No, it's one of the best books ever written. It's so fucking good. I love that book so much." Man, number 3, I would say. What books do I even have on my shelf? I'm looking at my books right now just to try and find something. I'll say The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I even have a wasp tattoo because of for that character. I really love that book. I love that main trilogy that he wrote. I haven't read any of the other books that are written by other authors or whatever, but yeah, I'd say those are my my top. They're on the top somewhere.
Alive or dead, what is a director that you would pick to produce any of your books that you have written or haven't written yet? So this can be a future book, doesn't matter, but just a director that you would want to direct it if it got made into a movie.
I think because yesterday I saw 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which was fucking phenomenal. And
that's what I've heard all day today.
It is so good. And I've become a huge fan of Nia DaCosta, who directed it. She also did the Candyman movie that came out a few years ago that she co-wrote with Jordan Peele. I know some people give that movie some hate because they love the original so much. The original is great. I prefer her Candyman so much more. And you know what? Fuck it. I would have her do Unfold. I think she's so talented and so incredible. I would love to have for my the action psychological one about killing Nazis. I would have Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick movies. I'm like, it's because it's just John Wick killing Nazis, but a horror movie or a horror book. So I'm like, yeah, might as well.
That would be good. That would be good.
Yeah, and then I would have, because I'm thinking of his Evil Dead movie, but I'm also thinking of his Alien movie, Fede Alvarez, to do this werewolf thing I'm writing right now.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's who I can think of right now off the top of my head.
If Unfold had a theme song, what do you think it would be?
A theme song?
Yes.
God, that's a great question. What would it be? Oh, man.
I have a funny answer, but it's weird. So
hit me.
Okay, like the music that you typically hear in the elevators when you're in those big fancy corporate, like that's just what I hear. Because it's annoying and it's crazy and it sinks into your brain, and I'm like, you know what? That I don't know if that counts.
That's a great answer. You know what? Let's just put some some elevator music, or which I think can also go into some jazz or something, just something contrary to all the violence that happens into the third act,
Yes. I think that would make it so much more chaotic, because you've got this normal that's supposed to calm you music, and then that ending is happening.
Yeah. That book I really did bring it where you're like, okay, something has to happen at some point. And it's not like things don't happen. There are actually a lot happens in the book. It's just more of like, for the readers I'm targeting, they want death, they want scares, they want, they want the horror aspect. And you're like, this horror book has no horror in it. And then you get to the third act and then you're like, oh my God.
The horror has persisted to this point, but no, in the last 5 years, what do you think the top 5 best movies that have come out in any genre are? And these are your personal picks, not just the best that everybody else says, but you truly believe.
Okay, last 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nosferatu, Frankenstein. God, this is so hard. This is so fucking hard. Best. I'm trying to remember even what came out in the last 5 years. God damn it. That's so tough. Weapons.
Oh,
obviously a lot of this is recency bias, because I'm obviously not misremembering things and whatnot. John Wick 4.
Ooh.
And The Northman.
Ooh, those are some good ones. Those are some good ones.
Yeah.
This question I ask a couple of people because I'm just selfish and I need to find other TV shows like this. But what do you think probably the top horror TV shows that you have found and watched are? And they could be from any time, because
Yeah.
I feel like there's just not enough of them.
Yeah, I feel like horror, I think where the genre, the medium it struggles the most in is TV. Because I feel like generally, like I feel like the big ones aren't that good. Like I hate Ryan Murphy to my core. I'm so fucking sick of that dude. American Horror Story sucks. It's always sucked. It's never been actually that good. It was mediocre for the first few seasons, and then it got awful, and it's persistent.
Literally hitting the nose on the head. Like, I love the idea of it, and I always come back to watch it, except for Delicate, because I was just like, whatever. But, like, I always give it a chance, and I'm like, why am I always not happy? I did like the summer camp one, but I just like campy stuff.
I dropped off after, I think the hotel one was the last one I watched. The one whatever one that Lady Gaga first appeared in. That was the last season I watched. Anyways, the best though, ignoring that fuck. Obviously, you cannot talk about horror TV without talking about Mike Flanagan, the GOAT. So, how many TV shows were you asking for?
Oh, did I even give you a number?
I don't know.
Just keep talking.
I'll do 3 or 4. I don't know. I'll do a couple. Anyways, The Haunting Hill House and Midnight Mass are the 2 Mike Flanagan projects that everyone must watch. Those are the best horror, at least limited series I've ever been.
Midnight Mass punched me right in the chest. And I think you probably know the scene that I'm talking about, because every year on Facebook Memories, when the day that I watch that pops up, I have like this nondescript post, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Mike Flanagan he delivers, especially on those 2 things. Those 2, I really like the Evil Dead show, Ash vs. Evil Dead. I'm kind of mad that it got canceled. And while it had some issues, I think it got a little repetitive and they were kind of stretching things a little thin. I still really liked the characters and what they were doing with it. I really, really dug that a lot. I thought that was extremely fun. And I'm never an Evil Dead guy. Like, I like the show and I like the last movie, Evil Dead Rise. Other than that, I'm not.
Well, that last movie, ooh. Yeah, I liked that last movie.
We're getting that director's new movie. He's doing a Mummy movie coming out in April.
Ooh, that's gonna be good.
He said it's part Poltergeist meets Seven.
Poltergeist is the movie that terrified me as a child. Like, I could not, and like when I was younger, it was nothing for the TV to cut off and do the staticky stuff at night, and like ruined me for a long, long time. Yeah. And then Seven is amazing. Just that's it.
Yeah, it's a classic. So, anyways, back to TV. I think those are like my top ones that I would say. I'm probably missing a TV show here that I'm like, oh, that's like a horror show that everyone needs to watch or whatever, you know, like one of the greats. But those are the 3 that immediately come to mind that I'm like, oh yeah. But especially like Midnight Mass and Hill House are definitively like some of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Literally, though, I agree. Funny story, I haven't seen Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV show situation, because I was going to watch it and accidentally ended up watching a complete different TV show and didn't realize it wasn't what it was until I was done. I don't know if you've ever seen Stan Against Evil.
Stan versus Against Evil? I've never heard of it.
Stan Against Evil. It's did you ever watch Scrubs?
Yeah.
You remember the janitor?
Neil Flynn? Yeah. I'm actually rewatching Scrubs right now.
So he's the main character. He's Stan, and he is the sheriff of a town where the sheriff has been cursed and to die or whatever. And like, it's just crazy. It's funny, and there was like 2 seasons of it. But I thought that was what I was going to watch when I was watching, or supposed to be watching, Ash versus the Evil Dead. And then I got done with it, and I was like, this doesn't seem like what anybody said it was going to be. And then I found out it was the wrong TV show. But
you're like, when is Bruce Campbell gonna appear in this?
That's what I kept wondering. I was like, maybe he directed it or something, and I just don't get it. And never thought to Google it, not once. I was just like, I'll keep watching it.
Yeah, speaking of horror TV, I actually just watched Bates Motel. We just finished that up, and it was good. It's Bates Motel. Did you ever watch it?
So I watched the first season and a half, I think, and then something happened, and I didn't watch anymore. But that was creepy.
Yeah,
like it started out creepy hard.
It's honestly. It reminds me a lot of a Ryan Murphy show. I'm like, what happens if Ryan Murphy had any talent and made a good TV show. It's good. It has its issues and stuff like that, but it's good. And I think the ending of it was satisfying.
Ooh, I might have to pick it back up and finish it out then. I feel like I don't watch nearly enough. Like I'm a season behind on Severance.
Oh, I'm caught up in everything. You name something, I'm caught up on it if I'm watching it.
Have you watched From?
I've heard excellent things about From. I have not seen it though.
I need you to watch it. I just need everyone in the entire world to watch it.
Is it done or is it continuing?
No, it's not done. And I'm not entirely sure they know what the done ending of it is. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just like, I don't understand how they could come up with an ending for it. There's just so many things going on, and I love all of them.
Another horror show is we're on this tangent now. The last revival of Dexter Resurrection was awesome.
Okay, I will have to give it a watch because, like, I keep seeing mixed reviews on it, and I'm like, do I want to invest my time into this? I don't know. But
I will say the first 10 to 15 minutes are messy of like, how do we get from the last thing that they did, New Blood, to continuing this? Because wasn't he supposed to be dead? All this stuff. It's very messy and very thin on how the connective tissue of from the previous thing to, hey, we're going to continue the story. But once you're through that, it's pretty smooth sailing and it's fucking great. And it's honestly, I think it's one of my favorite things that's ever been done with the Dexter franchise.
okay, that is a big stamp on something, so I'm definitely going to have to look into that now.
Yeah, I fucked with it hard, and we're getting another season of that, and I can't wait.